Hey, everybody. Hello. Get this angle just right. Can you hear me okay? Just want to make sure. Dave, hi. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. I hope you are doing well too. Alicia, hello. Julie, there you are. Kiri, hello. I've got all of my fans. I hate that here. It's like, oh, you're not fans, you're friends. Got all my friends here, right? Oh, wonderful. Good. This is a pretty good little, I have an external mic on here just to make sure that it doesn't crap out. So I'll show you what it looks like. It's just this little microphone, Samsung, and this just clips on the side of my monitor. So works really well. And the mod squad is here. Yes, the squad, Kathy's squad. Huh? You guys are great. So how is everybody today? How was your week? How was your weekend? I kind of like being on Monday, because then it's like, what did you do this weekend? Because it's usually, not work and, maybe visiting with family, going places, doing different things. So, oh, thanks, Julie. Matt and Sarah, hello. Sorry, I kind of put some away in my desk drawer. Hawkins Hills, hello. Welcome. Yeah, we had, oh my goodness, what did I do this last week? Just kind of, I think, usual things, kind of typical every days. However, yesterday, I'll tell you, yesterday was my brother's birthday, the one who passed away last January. And so, in his typical humor, I think he ordered a blizzard for us, or a snowstorm. Anyway, we got snow Saturday night and yesterday, and we were supposed to only have like a half inch of snow. Well, I woke up to about 4 inches of snow. And a plow pile at the end of the driveway, so I'm out trying to shovel and get in snow blow and get all that stuff done, so I can get to church. And I was about 10 minutes late, but still made it there. But anyway, it was a little bit of a surprise. So I was like, Pete, thanks for the snow. I'm sure he just ordered that. He's a card. But anyway, thanks, Dave. You broke down, wore shorts on Saturday. Oh, thunderstorm with lightning. I saw that the front that came through here dumped all the snow and is giving us below zero temperatures, below 0 Fahrenheit temperatures. I see that for most of the Northeast, it's rain. Looks like maybe up into Canada, it's snow a little bit, but if anybody looks on the map, on a cold temperature map and everything, there's like this mass of sub-zero temperatures in Canada, and then there's like this little hand with finger that goes right down into Minnesota. It's like, thank you, I really appreciate that. So our high today was 1 degree above zero. Oh, hey Tim, hello. You're warmer than normal and wet. Yeah. So I don't know if that front is going to go through for you guys or not, but Patty, hello. Anyway, yes. So we are in a deep freeze right now. So, but you know what? We've had an extended, mild fall, and winter is just letting us know that, hey, you're not escaping me this year. We'll warm up again in the next few days and everything, but this is just kind of a little preview. You're getting it done Wednesday. Okay. Yeah, probably. I don't know if it's so much what we just got but there seems to be some more coming from the West Coast, from Tinker's Wife area. And so, I mean, they're saying we're not supposed to have snow till Friday, but who knows? I don't know, that might come through. So, um, but yes, Alicia, just, get out your boots, your jackets, scarf, all that kind of stuff. So, to dust your coat off today. Yep, important to wear those, absolutely. Oh, you're in Missouri, Hawkins Hills. Okay. You love winter, just not the utility bills. Yeah. But you know what? It's either you pay the heat or you pay for air conditioning, really, kind of. Unless you're able to live without AC. But um, this last winter, or this last summer, I mean, we started in the hundreds in the middle of May and didn't really drop down until August. So it was like, oh, um, hi, Mama Bear Manette. How are you? Yeah, blame those for the West. That is true, Patty. It's like whatever's brewing in the Pacific, right? Um, yeah, you know what made a huge difference in my bills this summer for air conditioning? I had the unit I have upstairs. I have two window units. I have one down here, one upstairs, and they're small ones. They're like 5,000 BTUs. So then I just have fans that help to blow it around the house. So the house stays cool enough. Well, not this past summer, but the summer before, the one upstairs actually caught on fire and it was old. And so it's like, time to ditch that one. And so I got a new one last spring, which I'm so glad that I ordered it. Actually, I ordered it in the winter before things started being so hard to get, which I'm so glad I did. But anyway, I have a new one that's more energy efficient. And I tell you what, my electric bills were they were half, almost 2/3 of what they normally were. So, discounted. So it made a huge difference. Okay, Dave. I know that one was pretty old. It was the first one I had, so it was 25 years old. So yes, not efficient, and I think it just it certainly could have been something that got in there that jammed it up or something, twigs or bird nest or something. I don't know, but anyway. But yes, you're right, Donna. Hi. It pays to update. Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you find that your electric bills are outrageous in the summer because of cooling, consider doing that. I know if you have central air, that's a whole nother ball game, and that's a big expense. But anyway, yeah. So it is cold here. It is very, very cold here. And we had 25-mile-an-hour winds, sometimes up to 30, 35. So anyway, our wind chills were -30 last night and this morning. So down on my other one, it's probably a good 20 years. So I really, although I don't run that one as often, the one upstairs, it runs 24/7. And but the one downstairs, I only run when it's over, it's maybe 90, 85 to 90, right in there. The one upstairs is just not enough to cool the house, so I have to run the one downstairs. But if it's 75 to 85, the other one does just fine. But this summer it was very, very hot, so I did run both of them quite a bit. And so the one downstairs, it hasn't, even though I've had it for 20 years or more, probably don't have that much time on it actually. So, I'll kind of look at it again this winter and check it out and see it's like if I need to replace it or not. But yeah. Yeah, no reason to be cold if we don't have snow. That's very true. That's very true. And we did get a few inches of snow. Did you get anything? We got more than what I was supposed to, so. Oh, really? Central air is more efficient, right? That's true. Exactly, Dave. That's very well said. You rake up the leaves at the senior center. They have central AC. Oh, yes, that makes a difference when you have central units. You have to really take care of them and, keep them, have guards around them from critters getting in and stuff like that. So, yeah, it takes, oh, you didn't get any? Oh, and yeah, dealing with this cold. So I'm very white outside. I'm white here too, but it's like I'm white outside. Oh, but it's, enough to freeze everything solid, that's for sure. Thanks, Michelle. Hi, how are you? You have ductwork already, so you can add central AC if you're not okay, very good. Yeah, if you're able to find a really good sale, that's probably, it sounds like that's what you're waiting for. Um, so, all right. So Christmas needs snow. Yes, it certainly does. And I think we'll still have opportunities to. I'm hoping this next weekend I will go get my tree on Saturday. So with the snowstorm coming in this last Saturday, I was busy trying to get last minute stuff taken care of outside and didn't really have the space inside ready to get it, but we'll do that. The high was 7 today in the house is 76. Oh yeah, wood heat, amazing, amazing. And Matt and Sarah, you do great stuff with that. Absolutely. I think it's wonderful to have a backup like that. So 60% of the time, yeah. Um, we're probably, what would you say, other Minnesotans? We probably have a white Christmas 80% of the time, I think. Um, it's maybe one every, or even more, maybe one out of every 8 or 10 years. Yeah, we have a brown Christmas. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. It missed you. Okay, Donna. Yep. They were saying 6 to 10 inches up north. I don't know if they got it or not up around the Canadian border, but so yeah. Thanks, Matt. I think it's Matt, right? It's on tonight. Yeah, about 90% of the time. Yep. All right. In the description below in the show notes, I put a whole bunch of links in there. I've got links for the types of beans that we're going to talk about. I've got links for how to store beans. I've got links for other resources on famine foods. I've got a link for this book on famine foods. And there's some recipes and different things. So, hey, Julie. Um, so anyway, I want to say first, I did a little more research. I talked about rice last week and to be able to make rice flour. For me, it sounded like the easiest way would be to cook it, dehydrate it, and have it, and then just put it in a blender or something like that and make rice flour. However, pre-cooking it like that and then doing all that, you do lose all the nutrients for it. Now, if you want it just as a filler to help round out your other breads or just to be able to make something, that's certainly something you can do. But real rice flour is just made from the uncooked grains and then ground up. However, it's very hard to grind rice. It gets it's much grainier than wheat. The wheat berries are a whole different hardness and texture and everything else like that. And so, um, oh, you're trying to work too. Oh, um, yeah, Julie's cracking that whip. Alicia said you found out that your daughter's school is. Oh no. Ooh, and that's got to be a small community, I would think too, Alicia, right? I'm so sorry. Yes, it needs very, that's the word, Michelle, gritty. It becomes like sand. So when if you've ever eaten anything that's made from rice flour, whether it's cookies or desserts or breads or whatever, it's got a real gritty kind of sandy texture to it, and it's certainly not a preferred flour, but we're talking for times of shortage and everything else when you might not have any other options. And so being able to grind some up, they just putting in a blender doesn't do it. You really need to have a really good grain mill. So if that's something that, is on your heart to invest in and to check out, you're going to pay somewhere between $250 to $500 for a grain mill, depending on what it is. But and I don't have one, so I can't give you any recommendations, and I've never used one. So I would say do your research on that. But it can grind any of your rices, your beans, your any dried thing, your wheat, oats. It can dry it to a nice fine flour that can be usable for your family and to be able to make things. So, you know, to me, that's kind of like a wish list thing, like a sun oven, stuff like that is like those bigger ticket items that, you can't pick up something for $50. But, unless you find one, maybe like at a thrift store that is almost like new or something like that, or somebody puts one on Facebook Marketplace or, different things like that. Yes, Michelle, gluten-free cookies. Yes, for gluten-free, they do a lot of rice flour, and it's just, yeah, it's a nut. So you can get a hand crank grain mill. Yes, you can. Absolutely. Um, yeah, there's electric and then hand crank. I was probably shooting out the prices for the electric one. I'm not sure. I know that Stivers had bought a hand crank one a couple of years ago, and they like demonstrated it on a video, and it took a lot of cranking, a lot of turning. So if you have a couple people around to be able to do that, it's that's very, very helpful, extremely helpful. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know that about rice, that if you want all of the nutrients out of it and all that kind of stuff, that that's kind of where it has to be. So um, I guess I wasn't really sure when I spouted off last week about it. So anyway, I do want to talk about, we talked about famine foods, and several weeks ago I described, kind of what was considered famine foods in different countries and all of that. But I want to kind of focus a little bit more, just in this statement, on what actually we consider famine. Um, exactly, Patty. So, if it's something that you're not physically capable of doing, it's like, you have to do the electric, and it can be depend on other things. Now, it's a possibility a coffee grinder can do it too. It would just take a lot of small batches to make what you need. But if you're just by yourself and you're going to make a small loaf or something, I'm not sure if a coffee grinder would do that. It grinds up coffee beans, but and it grinds my cinnamon pretty fine too. And cinnamon is a bark, and that's really hard. So it's possible that a coffee grinder could work, which is a lot cheaper too. So maybe try it out. Put a fourth of a cup of rice in a coffee grinder and see if that grinds up into a flour. That'd be kind of neat. Should try that sometime. Hmm. Um, she has a hand crank with a horizontal motor. I'm not familiar with that name. Electric grinder. Yes, yeah, that's what I have. I have an electric coffee grinders. One my mom had given to me, and then I got another one because I wanted one for. Well, my old one was starting to get a little more dull, everything. When you do cinnamon over and over again, it kind of dulls up the blades. So I wanted something that would be sharper for all my herbs and different things like that. Grinding coffee by hand can be a lot of work. That's true. Hey, Albany Mountain, how are you? I'm going to take a shot in the dark, and that you are in the Albany Mountains, right? Are the mountains near Albany, New York? And so, um, just a shot in the dark there. Hey, Michigan Daffodil, thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. Julie, you have a lot of area here where the Indians made divots in the granite slabs while grinding their grains. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And you can have like a mortar and pestle too to grind your grains. It also depends on, what you want and everything, but grinding it up is what it's going to need to be doing. So yes, I do. I do that with my herbs too, Albany Mountain. So anyway, really a famine. When we talk about famine, it's like any time of leanness or scarcity of food. And that can be caused by just being out of work. It's like you don't have the money. If you've lost your job, maybe it's an illness or something that has set you back. It could be, family dynamics, something that's happened. It could be a divorce, all kinds of things happen that all of a sudden your food budget is like non-existent, really, and different things. Hey, Gil. And so it can be caused by drought or flood. We had a drought here this last summer, which was really tough. It can be the economy, can be crops getting flooded out, your garden gets flooded, or all the, we've had in the last, I would say 5 years, we've had both in I want to say like Nebraska, Kansas area, the kind of heartland of growing our grains and stuff like that, have floods, massive floods, and severe droughts. Oh, and fire. There could be fire that could sweep through too, so all kinds of different things. Hey, Virginia. Yes, Dave, too, can be winter storm and the power is out for 2 weeks. Exactly. So when I say famine, it's not just like, the 7-year famine of, what happened in Egypt and nobody had food or grain and, Joseph put all the stores up. It's not just that, or the Irish potato famine. Those are major, major things in world events and everything, but it can be as massive as that or as personal as being out of work or being sick. So, it's just any time where there's a scarcity of food, whether it's not on the shelves or whether you don't have the money for it. So these are just foods that you can have, but to know how to store them well and what to do with them is really important. We talked about, again, rice last week. So Michelle, yes, high prices and no money. Exactly. And yep, could be, the inflation, could be recession, depression, whatever. In the 30s, it was very difficult in the States for people to feed their families. And so that's where they went into, everybody started gardening and having their chickens for eggs and all kinds of things. So a lot, you do what you can to survive, right? And it's, hunger is like the first immediate thing that people deal with in this kind of situation. And if you can have what you need to not be hungry, that is like a game changer when times are tough, because it's one thing you don't have to worry about. As a parent, when you have small children or something, it's like, how am I going to feed my kids and different things like that. But and that's why as homesteaders, we learn to prepare for those times. And it's like just taking insurance out on your house or your car, just in case, there's a fire or there's a windstorm or different things like that, or you're in an accident, that you're covered. And that's all that putting up food It's just that we know that we're covered for those times. And I think that's just really, really important. And our society's gotten so comfortable with just being able to go to the store and have that stuff. And yeah, Albany, I've been to. Your husband's family originally lived in around Albany. His family is Mohawk Native American. Cool. And they used Albany when last names were. Oh, that is interesting history. Thank you for sharing that. That's very cool. Agreed. Michigan Daffodil. Absolutely. Um, so many people today don't even have basic kitchen skills. I know, exactly. It's like, oh, just drive to McDonald's or, just pick up something on the way. Yes, it's easy. It's addictive to be able to do that. I just think of Jack and Tangi and Freedom Homestead when they were, for the 4 months that they were away from their home, or 5 months, they they were so close. I mean, Tangi even said they were so close to all of this fast food available to them that they started just living on that. And they went from cooking really super healthy and making everything home to eating out all the time. And it's easy to get into. It really is when you have a busy lifestyle. So you stock way more in one trip to town a month. Yeah, Dave, exactly. It does make a difference. And see, I'm about a half hour away from where I normally shop. And so it's not feasible for me to just like, oh man, I'm out of this. Let me just run to the store. I keep a list on my refrigerator as I'm running out of things, not out, but running low on stuff. It's like, okay, I only have 1 or 2 things left of this. I better get another one. And so I keep a list. And so when I finally do make that trip, I know exactly what I need. I know what I have to get. And it makes a difference. It really does. You don't end up spending a lot on stuff you don't need. You come home and you go, oh, I should have gotten this. I should have gotten that or whatever. So, your husband was born and raised in Detroit for the ironworkers. Oh, cool. How long can you keep flour in the freezer? You could probably keep it easily 5 to 10 years in the freezer. I've got some that I've had in there for 7 or 8 years right now. So it's way at the bottom. So I do need to bring it up. But when you bring it out, let it come to room temperature, like open the bag, let it come to room temperature and breathe so it doesn't get, the condensation doesn't get all wicked there. So $45 hardware store. Yeah. You're done, and that was good. So you have a country store. Oh, that's so cool. I love that. Up in the Northeast, there's a country store. Yeah. Dave, you've got such a quaint area to be in. It sounds like a dream there. Before 2020, you watched an apartment tour of some guy in New York City. He has 0 kitchen stuff in his kitchen. Not even a coffee maker. Oh, I know. Those are people who just like, they freak out because like, what do we do? What do we do? And exactly, those were the ones that would go to the store and take whatever they could. Maybe, I don't know. But all right. So Alicia, it depends on where you stored it. I would say if you've had it in like a big jar where nothing can get to it, it should still be okay. I would say smell it. If it's starting to smell rancid or anything like that, then throw it out. If it still smells like it's fine, then I would use it. Okay, I got to get to beans here. You're welcome, Dave. Hey, Christy, how are you? Okay, so beans, and we're talking dried beans, not green beans that you eat, fresh and canned and stuff like that. We're talking dried beans. So beans are classified as a legume along with peas, peanuts, and lentils. They are the seeds of flowering plants in the Fabaceae family. Beans typically grow in pods with more than one bean inside. They are rich in fiber and B vitamins, helping to reduce cholesterol and blood sugar levels. They also serve as a source of protein, making a great substitute for meat. Not to mention they're cheap. Beans. Rancid. What does rancid smell like? It would just be like stale and off, and for flour, and just kind of like it's not fresh at all. You could always, I wouldn't say, try to make a loaf and see what it tastes like, but I would worry more about having any type of pests in it than it really going bad. So I would say any smell to it. Yes, any smell to it. Um, so anyway, beans come in both canned and dry forms. And we're going to be talking about just the dried beans that you buy in a bag and stuff like that. But canned beans are great time savers if you want to buy those, everything else. But you have to look at the expiration dates on those that are canned and make sure that you rotate them out, first in, first out, and really check on all of your expiration dates. That's something I'm going to have to do. It's on my list to do in the next month or two, is to get down into my my pantry downstairs and in the basement and just look at all of my actual cans from the store, my tin can goods, and see what the expiration dates are on those, and start using up the ones that maybe are getting close to that. So keep that in mind too. Kind of free prep tip right there. I can't talk here. So anyway, so if you have canned beans already and everything, and so however, beans can lose their flavor in the canning process. So really just keeping them dry is they will last longer. I mean, everybody's like, oh, can your beans, and it's nice to have them as a convenience, but know that there's a shelf life to them, in the way of use them up within a year and a half, 2 years or something. Pantry sorting is a chore, but it's important. Yes, it is. Because you don't want to go downstairs and, or go to your pantry and look and go, oh, everything expired 4 years ago. It's like, I don't think I should eat this. And you have to throw all that out. It's just not good. So Canadian Prepper says canned goods are good longer than the expiration dates. Yeah. Right. You do want to be safe. You don't want to be, opening a can of pineapple and it's, all rotted in there, or just taking out. A pineapple is so acidic. It will, if it's not in a proper can, it will start leaching out the metals in there and everything. I've even seen a can of pineapple explode because an elderly person had it so long that it ate right through the metal. So that I remember about pineapple. Your mom made sure you had basic life skills, so that's good. Yes, they puff up and burst. So storing dried beans. We're going to go through storing them first, and then I'll run through the different kinds of beans that there are and what you can use them for and everything. But dried beans do have a long storage life, which means that you can always have them on hand. But if you're buying it just in getting a bag of it or something, it's best to use them within 1 year of purchase. Just best. I mean, you can still use them after 2 years or 3 years, but they're losing their nutrition after that. And also, the longer they sit on the shelf, the longer they take to cook. Interesting point too, right? Christy, you may want to check your pineapple. Exactly, Dave. That's a good point too, on the juice. So, but if you store them properly, you should get at least several years out of them. You can, and we'll talk about ways that you can get up to 25 years or more out of the beans. So I don't know, if I'm buying things to have on hand, I don't want them to just last a year or two. I want them to last a long time and to be still viable and nutritionally good for me and everything. So to keep them as fresh as possible, you want to store them in food-safe storage containers with tight-fitting lids rather than just the plastic bag you purchase them in. So you don't want to just get the bag of beans and just throw them in a 5-gallon bucket, and just have it just like with the rice. Because beans also can have, when they're packaged, when they're picked off of the plants and everything and dried, they can actually end up having some pest eggs on them and stuff like that. And when you just throw them, leave them in the plastic bag and throw them in a container, they can grow. They can develop. And pretty soon you go in and there's like weevils and all kinds of stuff in your beans or your rice or your flour. It happens to flour too. So again, the best thing is to store them in a cool place out of this direct sunlight and put them in food containers and seal them up as best you can. Vacuum seal kills any critters, yes. I have got a jar here of red beans, and it is all vacuum sealed. And so I've got these all ready to go. I didn't mark a date because they're vacuum sealed. They'll be good for 20 years. So I'm not really worried about that. But red beans are one of the ones that I use. As we get into the kinds of beans too, only store what you know you will eat. If you just can't stand red kidney beans, don't store red kidney beans. If you prefer lentils, store lentils. Store what you're going to eat, not what you think everybody says you should have. So, but yes, Donna, you can put them in the freezer. So that's another thing, just like rice and flour and wheat and everything else. If you want to store them a long time, put the bags, as soon as you buy them, put them in the freezer for 24 hours, take them out, let them come to room temperature, and then store them in a clean, sterilized jar that's all totally dry, and then vacuum seal it. Last week, somebody was asking about, navy beans. Oh, good. And black beans. I have some of those downstairs. These are what I had up here, so I just grabbed them real quick. What I have, there are two different ways that you can vacuum seal. One is with a vacuum sealer. Oops. Now this is just a Food Saver brand, and it lifts up. I put the bags in here, and I can vacuum seal. Now that's if I want to put them in a bag. Do not vacuum seal beans or rice in a bag because it is not airtight. Even if you pull it all out, there's still little air gaps that happen in there and everything. You want to fill up your jars like this, put in an oxygen absorber and a moisture absorber, and then I have these things that go on the top here, and then there's like a little tube, a hose that connects into my vacuum sealer. And it says accessory port right here, and is put it in here, and so I run this and it automatically seals that up. And it's kind of noisy, yes, but it seals it right up. And if I wanted to use these, say I want to use a half a cup of this, I can unseal this, use a half cup, reseal it again, vacuum seal it up, and so it's good to go. There's another system that you can use that's not electric. It's a brake bleeder, and you can do it by hand, and it's like, yes, exactly what it sounds like. It's to help to bleed the brakes of your car. And this brake bleeder takes the oxygen right out of the jars and will seal it. I do not have one. It's on my wish list. But hopefully I'll be able to get one at some point. But again, if you have arthritis or you're really old or something, that's really a difficult thing to manage because you have to squeeze and pump it and everything. So, but it's a non-electric alternative, which is really good. you understand that flour stored long-term changes in how well it bakes up. That is true. Um, and I will probably find that out when I pull out my flour out of the freezer. Um, Whenever I freeze things, I always double bag things so that anything in the freezer, it doesn't get freezer burned. It doesn't take on the flavor of everything else. It keeps bread fresh, um, everything else. So it's something I heard years and years ago, and I've always done it, and it makes a huge difference. So I double bag um, cheese. I double bag meat. I double bag, flour and veggies and anything that goes in the freezer. I always double bag it. So, yeah. Patty, yes. Is that what I said, actually? But yes, you can get all kinds of food sealers and vacuum sealers and everything, and you can pay a lot of money for them. This one's, I don't know, I think I paid $40 or $50 for it or something. I'm not sure. And then you get these little attachments and the little hose and everything. And it fits right over your jar lid. So, oh, good, Dave. You're another double bagger. With oxygen absorbers. Yes, you can also store them in Mylar bags, which is another great way to do that. You can seal up a Mylar bag and put an oxygen absorber in there, and then take those Mylar bags and put those in like a food grade bucket that has food grade super seal on it and everything, and that will help do that. So again, when stored in the original plastic packaging, dry beans will last about a year. But again, they can last up to over 25 years if you do that. How to tell if, even if the beans remain safe to eat, exposure to oxygen and light can cause them to lose their nutrients. They still kind of look okay, but they will, but also in high humidity areas, they can get moldy. So you want to have to be careful then. You like to use paper as a second bag. Oh, interesting. Okay. Like I will put things like, say they're in a quart bag or something, and then I will be able to put like 2 or 3 of them then of those into 1 gallon bag. And so I can store them. And they're just like Ziploc bags is what I use. So 10 1-pound packs of ground beef all in 1 paper bag. Very cool. Yep, Virginia, absolutely a brake bleeder. Yep. Okay, so after 2 years of the beans, significant vitamin degradation occurs, and virtually no vitamins may be present after 5 years. So keep that in mind. When you're storing things away for those famine times, those needed times, you want to make sure that they're going to be highly nutritious, because there's not going to be as much of everything available. Okay, but you want the nutrition in there. And so it says, but the protein and mineral contents, I don't know, I can't talk tonight. The protein and mineral components of beans will still be intact. How to tell if beans have gone bad? They would have a rancid smell. So dry beans should not have any noticeable smell. If they have a smell, that's what the rancid would be with those. The signs of mold would be like a fuzz or a film over the beans. And then also if they change color. Discolored beans are often still safe to eat, but their vitamin content has probably depleted. Another issue with storing beans, again, are weevils or moths. Weevil eggs are already inside the beans when you purchase them. So you can't even see them on the outside, they're inside. It can take several, it says check the beans for holes. So the sides of the beans, if they have any holes in them, that's a sign of insect eggs. It can take several weeks for the eggs to hatch and develop. So the eggs usually aren't an issue if you use the beans sooner after purchasing. But to prevent them, rotate through your stockpile or using methods to kill the eggs, which would be like freezing, and then um, depriving them of oxygen in whatever container you have. So, hey, Freedom Homestead, hello. Oh, yes, yum, Larry, scrumptious. A little extra protein there, right? Oh, is that Tangy? Thank you for coming in. That's very sweet of you. So anyway, keep it in cool, dark place and everything. Some good airtight containers include mason jars, vacuum sealer containers that you can get, or airtight containers. Again, Mylar bags, very, very good. Storing beans in the freezer. They can last years in the freezer. Again, probably double bagging would be the best because then you don't have to do that. But if you needed to remove them to make room in your freezer, again, bring them to room temperature. Open the bags up so that any moisture can escape from from condensation. With the furnace running all the time, the air is getting really dry in here. That's probably why my mouth is not working right. And then seal them up. So vacuum sealing, again, 5+ years. If you add oxygen absorbers, increases it more. If you put it in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, 25 or more years. And so that's an excellent thing. Hey, Caitlin, how are you? The Hyproclo. That's funny. All store-bought food has some level of bug. Yeah, that's true. Just like we want to know that, right? But you know, things that. Oh, Anna, hello. How are you? Do you need an oxygenator when you vacuum seal? No. This at least this one has. It has not only just the seal on it, but it has a vacuum thing in it. So it's all right there. You don't need to do anything else. Just plug it in and let it go. So, right. Don't want the power to go out. Exactly. Oh, Caitlin, very good. Nice. Okay, some types of beans. You can do it. And again, all of this information is in the links below in the show notes. So if you guys need any of this information, it's all there. And let me help you out with that. So we have black beans. And those are staple in many Mexican and Brazilian dishes. So they have a velvety, smooth texture and mild flavor. They also have a lower glycemic index than many other high-carb foods, helping to reduce the spike in blood sugar. So any keto people, black beans are probably a better solution to get and to store. You can add them to salads, soups, casseroles, or tacos for added protein. They also make a healthy substitute for meat, even flour. So again, you can also take the beans and grind them up and have them as flour. They can be very, very smelly and not very tasty. But if you need to make your regular wheat flour stretch, you can add some to that, depending on what you're going to do with it. But then there's black-eyed peas. So even this says peas, they're still a bean. They're an excellent source of folate, especially if you're pregnant. You can simmer them in chicken broth and toss a ham bone in there. So that would be a really good dish in there. Cannellini beans. I know somebody in this chat who loves cannellini beans. They're also known as white Italian kidney beans. They're cream colored and they're one of the most common types of beans. They're a popular addition to soups, salads, and Italian dishes. They hold their shape well and could be cooked lightly or mashed to make delicious fritters. So, mole, Mexican mole, beans slow simmered on days on the back of the cooks. Ooh, that's worth it, isn't it, Dave? Texas caviar with black-eyed peas. Oh, there you go. Oh, the recipes are rolling. I love it. I love it. So yes, we are on chickpeas now, or garbanzo beans. Same thing, different names. They come in two varieties. The larger kabuli is common throughout the Mediterranean, and the smaller desi is grown mostly in India. You're probably familiar with them because they're used to make hummus. So they have a round shape and a firm texture. They're good for salad topping. They're very nutty, nutty, N-U-T-T-Y. They're good for snacking, putting them in. You can toss them with a little olive oil, salt, and spices. Put them in the oven and make a nice snack with that. They're packed with fiber and protein. So, yes, I'm kind of going alphabetically here. So we have Great Northern beans, another type of white bean that's often mistaken for cannellini or navy beans. Great Northern beans are less dense and have more of a nutty flavor than their bean compatriots. They're ideal for use in soups, stews, or purees because of their light texture and ability to absorb seasonings easily, not to mention they're packed full of calcium. So again, find your favorite kind of bean, and that's what you should store. Okay, so or if you've never used beans in all of these dishes, kind of do the research, and again, the links are below with all of the stuff in there. Kind of do, figure out, okay, in case of this, we will have these. Yeah, I'm going to have tomato sauce. I'll have these seasonings. I will have, the stuff out of the garden or whatever. Fresh food. So what would be good with that? I'll use beans. So kidney beans are known for the vibrant red skin and white interior. They're great for chili. I don't care for kidney beans that much, so I use my small red beans in chili. So that's why I store small red beans. Trail of Tear beans. Oh, wow. Yeah. I'm obviously not going to cover all of the beans. I have like 15 of them here and there's a lot more, but kidney beans, great for chili. And you can also add them to rice, tacos, curry, or mash them to make a creamy dip. That'll work. Lima beans. Sorry, I can't stand lima beans. But they have a mild buttery flavor and a soft texture that can turn to mush if cooked too long. Yeah, my mom, God rest her soul, she overcooked everything without any seasonings or flavors at all. It was just like the pure food, that and Brussels sprouts and all of these things. It was just like, so anyway, God bless her. She tried. I couldn't do it. Okay. They have more, lima beans have more potassium than kidney beans. Michigan daffodil is like, yeah. Oh, Chrissy, that's cute. Sometimes you feel like, yes, Michelle. And then pinto beans. Pinto beans have an orange-pink color with rust-colored specks, and they actually means painted in Spanish. So they're loaded with fiber and protein too. Their earthy flavor and smooth texture makes them great for dips and stews and refried beans. Then we have fava beans. Fava. Fava or broad beans can be difficult to work with. They have a sweet, nutty flavor and buttery texture. They're perfect for topping salads, mashing for dips and spreads, or charred alongside asparagus. Navy beans. This bean goes by many names: haricot, pearl haricot beans, white pea bean, and Boston bean. Is that what they use for Boston baked beans or navy beans? Oh. They have a mild flavor and creamy texture, similar to Great Northern beans. They do a great job of absorbing the flavors around them. Here we go. They're commonly used to make baked beans or in traditional English breakfasts. They're also high in fiber. They may reduce symptoms of metabolic syndrome due to their high fiber content. Season them with bay leaves, garlic, and fresh herbs. So I would agree with that, Michelle. Yes. Oh, Patty, we have to talk then. I don't need to find out what's been going on. So, yes, pork and beans. Yeah, that would be that. So, adzuki beans, Adzuki, adzuki. They're small, round red bean, commonly mashed into red bean paste and used in Asian sweets like cakes, pastries, or even ice cream. Any savory applications would be with rice or leafy greens. They're high in protein and fiber. Edamame are the young soybeans, which are usually eaten while still inside the pod. These beans are soft and edible, unlike mature soybeans. They make a tasty appetizer, snack, or salad topping. Mung beans these beans are one of the most consumed types in the world. They're small, round, and green with a white stripe going through them. They're high in antioxidants and fiber. They come in many forms: dried powder, whole uncooked beans, sprouted noodles, everything else. They're good for use in soups, and they're can be in snacks. And then soybeans, of course, for paste, tofu, soy flour, all that kind of thing. Cranberry beans. They're a striking cream-colored bean with red speckles. They're also known as borlotti beans. Cranberry beans have a creamy texture and a nutty flavor. They're often used in Italian dishes such as minestrone soup. It can be in stews or bean salads. You can put them in chili, baked beans, different pastas. And then we have lentils. We live at edamame. Okay. It's still frozen. Ooh. Adzuki are preferred for folks that don't digest other legumes well. Oh, that's interesting. Thanks, Tangi. That's a good point. So lentils are not technically a bean, but they are a legume. So they do share a lot of qualities. They're diverse, ranging in flavor from nutty to peppery, depending on the variety. And there's a whole bunch of varieties. Commonly found in whole and split forms like split pea and different things like that. Lentils also come in a host of colors, including red, green, brown, and even black. What's more, they don't require soaking. A simple rinse to remove any debris will do, and most varieties will soften up in about 20 minutes. Ready to eat in dishes. You can serve them in a salad or cook them until they're al dente. They're great in soups and everything else. So if it's something that you don't want to be spending, hours for cooking over them or soaking them for overnight or anything like that, that requires a lot of beans, lentils would be perfect. I would probably, if they're already soft within 20 minutes, I would not recommend canning lentils. I don't think. I wouldn't do that. So anybody else have any word on that? I would also, I know we're at 7:00 here, but yes, store your lentils the same. But I also want to mention that Dave's friend and our fellow YouTuber Cody passed away. Please prayers for his family and for all of them. So really, really, really a tough thing there. So my prep tip is, again, storing your beans. Get it done in the right way, and then it will last, and you don't have to worry about, oh man, in 2 years when you need them, it's like, are they going to be okay? If you put them away properly, it's just kind of like canning anything properly. That it's going to be safe, and it's going to be fine to eat. So, and again, try to build up your freeze-dried food supply. A garden tip: take an inventory of your seeds and get some seed catalogs, research online, order your seeds, consider growing dried beans if you have a good climate for it. So anyway, guys, that was kind of breezed right through it. So yes, we will be. Oh, Michigan Daffodil, Dave, Oak Knob Farm, and I've known Cody through another channel, and he had his own channel for a while. He was just a young man. What, Dave, 24, 25, something like that? Yeah, so you're welcome. You're welcome, guys. There's so much. Who'd have thought there was so much information on just dried beans? Oh, but it was really fun. Thanks so much, you guys, for coming. I really appreciate all of you. I don't know if there's anybody else coming up on the, right behind me, but Freedom Homestead is live in another hour. I know there's a bunch of channels on tonight, but you guys are so great and so fun to have you here. I really appreciate it. Michigan Daffodil, I think Fermented Homestead is on next, and Freedom Homestead is on in an hour. So anyway, you guys take care. God bless. Always have hope and have a great week. And we will warm up here. It's not a forever thing. So you guys, I love having you here, and have a great week. Bye-bye.